I want to read you this poem that Robert Bly read yesterday by Kabir that I was talking about this morning. Think while you are alive. Friend, hope for the guest while you are alive. Guest is capitalized. Jump into experience while you are alive. Think and think while you are alive. What you call salvation belongs to the time before death. If you don't break your ropes while you're alive, do you think the ghosts will do it after? If you don't break your ropes while you're alive, do you think ghosts will do it after? The idea that the soul will join with the ecstatic just because the body is rotten, that is all fantasy. What is found now is found then. If you find nothing now, you will simply end up with an apartment in the city of death. If you make love with the divine now, in the next life, you will have the face of satisfied desire. If you make love with the divine now, in the next life, you will have the face of satisfied desire. So plunge into the truth. Find out who the teacher is. Believe in the great sound. Kabir says this: when the guest is being searched for, it is the intensity of the longing for the guest that does all the work. Kabir says this: when the guest is being searched for, it is the intensity of the longing for the guest that does all the work. Look at me, and you will see a slave of that intensity. So there's something that I say that I often see Instagrammed, much to my dismay. It's very good, which is that basically how you do everything is how you do anything is how you do everything. This line, what is found now is found then. What is found now is found then. It's the same. And then Kabir says this: when the guest is being searched for, it is the intensity of the longing for the guest that does all the work. So let's talk about magnetism, or self-fulfilling prophecy, or positive imagination, or how we create anything, the alchemist's vow. Kabir says this: when the guest is being searched for, it is the intensity of the longing for the guest that does all the work. I feel that this is a very important femme consciousness principle, which is that the femme, the shakti, one of the shakti principles, and why it's so magnificent being a woman, is that the intensity of our desire or our longing is part of the femme consciousness, which exists in all genders. But if you have a bend towards, you either identify as a woman or you have a bend towards the feminine kind of essence in your consciousness, the longing is part of it's a fundamental frequency of being a woman. So this is why women in the yogic science are 16 times more able to kind of manifest and create and hold certain visions for the household, for the family, for the business. That's the woman has the double arcline, which holds the kind of exponential capacity to broadcast a frequency of prosperity or a frequency of poverty. Either way, that's, it's a polarity. So we can either 16 times more powerful destroy things, or 16 times more powerful construct things. And one of the reasons for that is that we have innate to the female psyche and the female essence, we have that Shakti principle of the yearning. the yearning for more intimacy, the yearning for more, just in general. That's the Shakti principle. So, in going in this kind of ecstatic patterning, this ecstatic geometric patterning, the yearning or the longing itself creates something that I've talked about in the women's programs over the years. One of my favorite words, invagination. Basically, the way that we kind of create through the femme principles and through the Shakti principles is that we're literally kind of the longing for the intimacy or the longing for the orgasm or the longing for the prosperity or the partner or the child or whatever the longing is. That itself is what creates the magnetism. It takes care, and so then we, as yogic scientists, we have to, construct that yearning or that longing in a way that's a positive projection, rather than what happens very often. If we don't know how to kind of utilize this energy, it'll very often go to the destructive end of the pole rather than the constructive end of the pole, which is rather than we're basically using that longing to create more longing, or using the wanting to create more wanting and never getting, which is, part of the kind of, we'll call it the more destructive end of that. And we could put a lot of paradoxes in this. Let's also say that part of your longing and then getting is for you to understand that the longing has nothing to do with the getting. So all of the kind of personal things that we are longing for, we want, the getting does not satisfy the longing. That face of satisfied desire. What satisfies it? Well, what Jane was talking about, what all of these poets are talking about, what we always talk about, and what we really practice here, which is that the face of satisfied desire is the true longing for the union. That's what yoga is. The true longing for the union of the infinite in the finite experience. That's the human experience. And that's the longing, when you want to have better sex, or you want to have a more intimate relationship, or you want to have, I hope people aren't still into this thing, but you want people to understand you. I hope you've let that one go. But you may still be, longing for that. Whatever that longing, that yearning is, ultimately the only way that in the next life you will have the face of satisfied desire is that if you understand that the uplink of the longing is the uplink to the infinite and the finite experience, then, and this is one of Immense Grace this is our fundamental kind of keystone of experience, not knowledge, but experience, which is that then when you have a taste of that satisfied desire, because you realize that the getting is actually not what the longing is here for. The longing is here to create a magnetic invagination or vacuum so that you can have a whole spectrum of human experience and put a layer on that experience incarnate as woman.